This is Michael Popok, Legal AF, with breaking news and the developments about the kidnapping of Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. The plot leader, Adam Fox, who literally lived under a rock, or in this case in the basement of a vacuum cleaner repair shop, was sentenced by a federal judge to 16 years in federal prison as a result of his role. He joins 5 other co-conspirators in charges that included abduction and the use of weapons of mass destruction. The other 5 defendants, some of which pled guilty, some of which who were convicted, are serving time between 7 and 12 years, cooperating co-conspirators, some of which have already been sentenced and released from prison because of their role in supporting the Department of Justice in its suit and its prosecution against Adam Fox and others. Some people who are not on this side of the aisle may be troubled by the information that somebody's going to jail for 16 years for trying to plot to assassinate, kidnap, maim a governor. Those that follow Donald Trump may be confused because to listen to Donald Trump on the campaign trail while he was waging his losing battle to beat Joe Biden, and in Michigan, Donald Trump often attacked Governor Whitmer, called the plot against her fake and phony, in an effort to gin up votes and grift for additional campaign donations. How do we know this? Because in his own words on the campaign trail and at rallies in Michigan, he called her that woman, another misogynist attack on women, which is par for the course for Donald Trump. He said that woman is a phony. He said that the people that tried to kidnap her, in the ultimate both sides-ism that he's known for, and just as he said in West Virginia that there were good people on both sides of the white supremacist march in West Virginia that led to 2 deaths, he said the same thing about the kidnapping plot and the kidnappers of Gretchen Whitmer. He said, well, you know, they have a point of view too. It's possible that they had a legitimate point of view. Their legitimate point of view was to retaliate and seek retribution against Governor Whitmer because of her stringent COVID policies at the time and the fact that she wanted to regulate gun violence. That was her crime for which they were going to plot to kidnap her and possibly murder her. But to Donald Trump, that was fun grist to use in a joking manner at a rally and to lead chants of lock her up, and not lock up the criminal element that were going to kidnap her. You heard that right. The President of the United States, who's supposed to be the consoler-in-chief, who's supposed to put his arm around the nation and give his shoulder of support to those in need, rather than rallying around Gretchen Whitmer after the plot was disclosed, rather than taking to the bully pulpit and giving a speech in the Rose Garden or in the Map Room or anywhere else in the White House to support her, to support a fellow elected official who also was sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution. He instead incited crowds against her, called her plot, the plot against her, fake and phony. There are Republicans today, I'm sure if you polled them, I'm sure it's well over 70% that believe that that plot was made up. Well, I have news for them. It wasn't made up. It was dangerous. They practiced with explosives to blow up the bridge near Gretchen Whitmer's summer cabin, to cut her off from her security detail, to hogtie her, kidnap her, torture her, and then let the depraved mind and imagination run wild about what they were going to do to Gretchen Whitmer next. Thank God there were confidential informants and undercover agents for the FBI embedded with them already and were able to foil the plot before it got off the ground. It's not just Gretchen Whitmer that's at risk when a tyrant, a despot, a narcissist like Donald Trump is in the White House. It's all elected officials. It's all federal judges. It's all FBI agents. It's all federal employees. Anyone that somehow gets sideways with Donald Trump gets added to his hit list, and then he gives license and permission to the cult followers that show their fealty to Donald Trump by executing plots like this one. This plot against Governor Whitmer was just a miniature example of what happened months later on January 6th. It's the exact same thing. It's a group of people activated, weaponized, and motivated by one person, Donald Trump, who took matters into their own hands to execute a violent plan to attack an elected official and official proceedings and to tear up the Constitution in their wake. Doesn't that sound familiar? Same owner of the bully pulpit, same dog whistle being blown, Donald Trump, except now instead of 5 people, it was 950 people attacking our Capitol on January 6th. And just as the Department of Justice, or what I like to call the conviction machine, keeps rolling on, now 12-0 in going after anarchists, insurrectionists, seditionists, co-conspirators, conspirators, plot developers, coup makers against our nation, our democracy, our cradle of democracy, wherever it lays, whether in Washington, whether in Michigan. Our Department of Justice is going after them and taking them down and putting them into a dark, dark hole. This one 16 years long for what they did. That's a nation of laws, not of man, that you're seeing writ large with our Department of Justice, and this Department of Justice led ultimately by Merrick Garland. The others who worked with Adam Fox, this erstwhile liver under a rock in a vacuum cleaner repair shop, are also going to jail for between 7 and 12 years. I take fault, however, with the judge in the case. The judge, Robert Jonker, who could have given the life sentence that the Department of Justice asked for in their sentencing memo. And in one hand, Judge Jonker, in the sentencing order and his comments at sentencing of Adam Fox, noted the severity of the crime and the fact that he needed to fashion a sentence that would deter, as a deterrent effect, against other people like Adam Fox. And he said all the right things in the sentencing. He said, and I quote, "There is a need for public understanding of the cost of this kind of wrongdoing, and certainly for specific deterrence as well." He said, and I quote, "And there is an impact on our overall governmental system, not just physical threat to our sitting governor. It's the emotional baggage that now our governor will have to carry, and that she's written about in her report." And he finished his comments at the sentencing. Judge Jonker said, "And beyond that, it does affect not just the willingness and eagerness of our own governor to continue in office, but undoubtedly affects other people who are either in public office or are considering public office." And at the end of that speech, I would have expected the federal judge, understanding the severity of the acts, the depravity of the acts, the need for severe deterrence to stop this from ever happening again, he would have said at least 40 or 50 years as a prison sentence, if not the life sentence the Department of Justice asked for. But instead he said 16 years, which puts Adam Fox back out on the street when he's in his 40s. If Donald Trump was able to weaponize this guy, to activate this sleeper cell of idiots in an attempt to overthrow a state, overthrow the governor of Michigan, what do you think, 16 years in prison is going to do to this guy when he comes out? He still has 50 useful years left in his life. While Gretchen Whitmer is either, just leaving the governor's mansion or running for higher office, because there's been speculation that not this coming term, That's Joe Biden's. But after that, Governor Whitmer could be a candidate for president. Could you imagine? President Gretchen Whitmer is in the White House just about the time that Adam Fox, her assailant, her kidnapper, her coup orchestrator, comes out of federal prison. What kind of world do we live in? This person should have been put in such a deep, dark hole in a place that he couldn't find his way out in his natural lifetime. So I have to dicker with the sentence that was given. The words were right. The messaging was right by Judge Jonker. The sentence was just all wrong. However, it does show you again the old adage that crime doesn't pay, and that if you do the crime, you're going to get caught, especially by the federal investigators, federal government, prosecuted by the Department of Justice, and convicted by a jury of your peers. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the rule of law writ large and our justice system. This is Michael Popok, Legal AF, reporting on the recent developments in the plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the sentencing of her coup organizer, Adam Fox, to 16 years in prison.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.